Hi, this is Vanshika Chauhan and I am working as a legal intern with Lexis & Company, and today I'll be talking about the three new labor codes of 2020. Before 2020 also, in 2019 the code on wages was introduced, consolidating a few laws, but in 2020 three more codes were introduced. Since labor is a concurrent subject, the government, both state and central government, can make laws regarding the subject. And before 2020 there existed 40 plus labor laws, and the government, in order to remove the confusion, decided to consolidate all these 40 plus laws in four major codes, clearly defining them. And the major purpose of the government by doing so was to reduce complexity, increase ease and compliance, and to increase accountability and transparency. Now the code on wages was the first milestone in the labor reforms market that consolidated four major acts. These were the Payment of Wages Act and Payment of Bonus Act, Minimum Wages Act, and Equal Remuneration Act. Now coming to the Industrial Relations Code of 2020, it consolidated three major laws, which was the Trade Unions Act, Industrial Disputes Act, and Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act. So the major changes that were brought about with the Industrial Relations Code of 2020 was regarding the number of workers. If an establishment has 300 or more workers, then it has to compulsorily make rules and regulations regarding the holidays, workers' classifications, pay days, and wage rates. These were also called the standing orders, and earlier this limit of workers was 100 workers or more. Now, if an establishment has 300 or more workers, then it has to take the prior approval of the government in case of retrenchment, closure, or layoff. Further, if an employee has to go on a strike, then he has to give a 14 days notice before going on a strike or lockout, which was valid for a maximum of 60 days. Now coming to the changes in trade unions, if an establishment has more than one trade union, then in order to determine the sole negotiating status of a trade union, it has to have more than 51% of employees as members. Earlier this requirement was 75%, which now changed to 51%. Now coming to the second code, which is the Social Security Code of 2020. This subsumes 9 major codes or labor laws which are related to social security, retirement, and employee benefits. Now this code promises universal social security for the very first time, which includes organized as well as unorganized workers. Provisions are made to make various schemes to provide comprehensive social security benefits to unorganized sector as well. The government will from time to time formulate and notify suitable schemes for provident funds, employment, injury benefits, housing, educational scheme for students, etc. This code also expanded the definition of employees to include more workers like interstate migrant workers, platform workers, gig workers, film industry workers, etc. After this code, the working journalists' gratuity period was reduced from 5 years to 3 years. Also, the central government can reduce the employers or employees' contributions under provident funds or employee state insurance for a period of 3 months in cases of pandemic, endemic, or a national disaster. Now coming to the third code, which is the Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions of 2020. This law removed 13 labor laws related to safety, health and working conditions of the workers, such as the Factories Act, Contract Labours Act, Dock Labours Act, and Interstate Migrant Workers Act. Now the aim of this code was not only to regulate employment but also to look after the health, safety and working conditions of the employers or employees. Now the features of the act were that it expanded the definition of factories, which said that the factories would constitute any establishment with more than 20 workers and uses power, or an establishment with more than 40 workers and does not use power. It also removed the manpower limit on hazardous conditions. Further, it was compulsory for contractors employing more than 50 workers to be governed by this law. Also, a maximum daily limit of working was set at 8 hours per day. Also, the women can seek work in any establishment. Further, the central government and the state government were to maintain the records of interstate migrant workers, and the workers with more than 18,000 per month salary would be considered to be interstate migrant workers. Now, these were the major reforms in the labor market of India, but we have yet to see how these reforms would be implemented in India.